So hey everyone, before we start I want first of all thank all of you for coming here to hear our story, and thank you for all the support throughout since October 7. It's really exciting to see again every time that Jews all over the world are taking care to one each other, no matter if you live in Israel or if you don't. So again, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for everything that you've done for us. And that's it. I think I'll start and say that our story begins in Mexico, as you could see. We missed our first flight. We said to our mom that we have to be in the Nova Festival because we were really excited about it, and I knew that I'm going to meet Omer Shem Tov there after a long time that I hadn't saw him. I think we both can say that the party was really great until 6:29. When the rocket started, we waited outside of the car because we knew that it's more dangerous to be inside of a car than outside when there are rockets. So we waited outside for about 40 minutes, and then police told us that we need to start driving and get away from the party area. And we drove, and then they told us that we need to start running and leave the car behind. And so we did. We ran for about 1 hour, hour and a half, until Ori Danino, Zichrono Libracha, called Omer and told us that he's coming to take us. And he came and he told us that he knows how to get out of Re'im. At that moment, when the rockets first started, our father called us a bunch of times, and we didn't want to pick up the phone because we were really scared that he will hear all the gunshots behind. So at that moment, when we were in the car, I felt like something is wrong, and I decided to call him. So I called him, and the minute he picked up, we saw a big trunk ahead of us, and 9 terrorists came off of it and started shooting at us. We would like to let you hear it one more time, and
מה קורה? אבא ירובי! לא יודע, איפה את? אני לא יודעת, אבא הורג אותנו, פוצע גזע. מה, איפה אתם? יואו, ממי, צריכים מיקום. תתחברו, תמצאו מקום, תתחברו. אבא, אני אוהבת אותך, אנחנו בתוך הרכב, אי אפשר לצאת, עכשיו. אני יוצא לכיוון שלכם עכשיו, צריכים מיקום. אני בא, מאמי, צריכים מיקום, אלוהים.
סליחה. אני רוצה לומר שאני מאותו רגע שהשיחה נותקה, אני הבנתי שאני הולך לקבור 2 ילדים. אבל לא עניין אותי משום דבר. חוץ מזה, הדבר היחיד שהיה לי בראש, שאני הולך להביא עכשיו את 2 הילדים האלה הביתה. לא חשבתי על החיים שלי, זה לא עניין אותי בכלל. וזה מה שעשיתי. נסעתי אי אפשר להסביר את זה, אבל טסתי לשם והגעתי למחסום של המשטרה באופקים, שם עצרו אותי. ומפה התחיל יום ארוך ומייגע, כשאתה שומע שכל הזמן יש פצועים והרוגים ואתה לא יכול לעשות כלום. אני יכול לומר שהייתי שם עד כמעט 12 בלילה לבד, ושאני הולך לבית חולים לבדוק אם הם נמצאים ברשימה של הפצועים וההרוגים, וחוזר בחזרה לנסות להיכנס בחזרה לאזור המסיבה. ולהיכנס לא נתנו לי, ובשעה 12 בלילה בערך, כשאני בבית חולים, אני מקבל סרטון ובסרטון אני רואה את איתי ברכב מובל על ידי חמאס, שכוב מאחורה. מהרגע הזה אני יכול לומר שאני מעלה חיוך על השפתיים שלי, כי אני יודע שלפחות איתי בחיים. מבחינתי זה אבסורד מאוד מאוד גדול כשאני מבסוט, כשאני יודע שהבן שלי חטוף ונמצא בעזה אצל המפלצות האלו. ומה עובר לאבא בראש? אי אפשר להסביר את זה. לעשות הכל, להביא את הילדים. הייתי לשידור בכל רשת אפשרית בארץ, ובהזדמנות הראשונה שהייתה יצאתי משלחת משרד החוץ עם שר החוץ לרומא, ובהמשך גם נסעתי לז'נבה להיפגש עם הצלב האדום. בצלב האדום נפגשתי עם ראשת הצלב האדום, ובאמת באותו רגע השמעתי לה את ההקלטה, ומה שהיא עשתה זה פשוט הורידה את הפנים שלה למטה ואפילו לא הסתכלה לי בעיניים. ואמרתי לה, אני בטוח שאת אימא, אז תביני מה עובר על אבא ששומע שזו השיחה האחרונה מהבת שלו. את צריכה להביא לנו מידע וסימן חיים על הילדים, זה התפקיד שלכם. המשכנו, גם עירית וגם אני, לעשות הכל, כל מה שאפשר, אבל בשביל זה צריך המון המון כוח, כשאין לך שום מושג מה קורה. שואלים אותי הרבה, מאיפה קיבלת כוחות להתמודד עם זה? אז אני חייב לומר, הדבר הראשון זה האמונה. האמונה שלי הייתה כל כך חזקה, שידעתי שהילדים שלי יבואו. לא ויתרתי לרגע. ואני צריך להבין שיש לי עוד ילד בן 15 בבית.
Ilan didn't give up.
אני חייב לומר שמהרגע שהם נחטפו, היה לנו ספר תורה בבית, בחדר של הילדים, קבוע, לא יצא עד שהם הגיעו הביתה. מירית הייתה עושה כמעט כל יום הפרשות חלה, מדליקה נרות ומתפללת. ויש באחד הימים, לקראת תחילת, זה היה בתחילת נובמבר, אני קיבלתי טלפון מאדם שאני לא מכיר. הוא שמע אותי ברדיו מדבר, והוא התקשר אליי. קוראים לו יהודה פרום.
His name is Yehuda From.
הוא אמר לי, לך לבית קברות, לקבר של חזון איש, ותעשה שם כמה דברים שהוא ביקש ממני לעשות, וחזרתי אחרי זה הביתה, ולמחרת בבוקר הוא התקשר אליי. השיחות שלי בטלפון כולן מוקלטות. אשמיע לכם את השיחה שלי איתו, שהיא קצת מקוצרת, אבל אני אשמיע לכם אותה.
הלו. בוקר טוב. בוקר אור. תראה, בוא, אני אגיד לך דברים, אם אתה לא יודע כלום, אז אני אגיד לך מה שאני יודע. שתי ילדים שלך חיים ברוך השם. עכשיו, הבת שלך, יש לה פציעה ברגל, פציעה קטנה ברגל, אבל זה לא משהו מיוחד.
איך אתה יודע?
מהשמיים. שתיים יחזרו הביתה. אתה מקבל את שתיים חזרה. אתה שומע אותי?
כן.
שתיים יחזרו הביתה בזה השם. אין לך מה לדאוג. בקרוב, מתי בדיוק אני לא יודע, לא יכול להגיד לך. גם יכול להיות שלא שתיים ביחד, כל אחד לחוד. אבל בקרוב, בעזרת השם, אתה תקבל אותם.
זה כמו שאני הרגשתי שהיא פצועה ברגל.
כן, הנה, אז אתה רואה.
הרגשתי את זה, כולם אמרו לי.
כן, אבל זה לא פציעה רצינית, ככה שזה לא... היא לא בית חולים, לא שום דבר, היא נמצאת... עכשיו, הם נמצאים במקום אחד ביחד, אני לא בטוח שהבת שלך והבן שלך ביחד, הם שני מקומות כאן נראה.
זה אני יודע שהם לא ביחד, והתחושה...
זהו, הם לא ביחד, והבת שלך תחזור קודם. נובמבר, דצמבר, זה ייגמר, זה הסיפור. אני מקווה שיהיה הרבה יותר קודם. תחליק מעמד, תגיד תהילים, תשתדל לא להיות עצוב, כי בעצבות, אז המזל, זה מפריע למזל להיכנס.
אני יודע.
השם ישמור אתכם, השם יעזור לכם, תתחזקו ותצפו שכל רגע לקבל את הבשורות הדורות.
תודה.
שכולם וכל עם ישראל.
תודה. מי אתה, יהודה?
מה?
מי אתה?
אני הבן של ריבונו של עולם. אני כבר בעשר.
כולנו,
כן, לא, אני אגיד לך מה. אני כבר קיבלתי מתנה באלוהים שאני אדם מיסטי, קיבלתי מתנה שאני יכול, למשל, יש לי כוח חזק שלי זה ברפואה. אני יכול להגיד לך על כל... שבן אדם לא יודע מה יש לו, אופן דבר אחד, אני יכול להגיד לו שזה לא נכון וזה כן נכון, אני יכול להגיד לו מה אני צריך להצליח או לא, אם כדאי לעשות אותו או לא, אני בודק בספר תהילים, אני מסתכל בתהילים, אני יודע לומר מה שאני אומר.
תודה. תודה רבה.
טובות, תחליק מעמד.
תודה. תודה, ידידי, אנחנו נדבר עוד.
I'm just going to give a brief summary of what that conversation was. This Yehuda called Ilan one day and told him that he has an update about his two children. He told him that your son was shot. It was a terrible injury, but it's not something that is life-threatening. He'll be okay. But I'm telling you, both of your kids are going to come home. And he started giving descriptive details of everything that was happening with them, of where they were being held, together, not together. And he said, they're both going to come home. Your daughter's going to come home before your son. And finally, Ilan asked him, who are you? How do you know this information? Who are you? And he said, Ani ben shel ribono shel olam. I'm a child of God. And he asked him, well, how do you know these secrets, this information about my children? And he said, we have a tradition in my family that we read Tehillim very carefully, and we can see stories. We can understand things that are going on in the world from reading the prakim of Tehillim properly. And that's the information that I'm sharing with you.
זה אחד הדברים, ואני בכלל כבן אדם שהוא מאמין, שמתפלל כל יום מגיל 12, והאמונה שלי כל כך חזקה, אני לא הולך עם כיפה. אני מתפלל כל בוקר, ואני מאמין בבורא עולם, וזה אחד הדברים שחיזקו אותי, שכל מה שהוא אמר, אחד לאחד קרה. הכל מלמעלה. ובאמת, ואני רוצה גם להגיד לכולם, באמת, אחד הדברים זה להאמין באמונה שלמה, לא לוותר לרגע, ללכת עם האמונה עד הסוף. בסוף דברים מסתדרים. קרו בכל התהליך הזה, בכל התקופה הקצרה הזאת, ב50 יום, שמאיה לא הייתה, כל כך הרבה ניסים שאי אפשר להסביר אותם. זה לא מעשה אדם, זה רק כוח עליון. הילדים שלי פה בגלל כוח עליון, וזה מה שאני יכול לומר. רק תודה לבורא עולם.
So now I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our story. I'm gonna pick few days that were important to us. throughout all the time that we've been there. I don't want to call it important, more like the one that we remembered the most, and the one that gave us the power to keep going and never give up. So on October 7, after that phone call, about 5 minutes later, we were already inside Gaza. And I also know that my father's phone records every phone call that he has. And I'm thinking to myself that now he has to live with this phone call for the rest of his life. And I also know that he would take himself and drive to Re'im, and I was also really scared because I thought to myself, either he will get killed, kidnapped, or someone, I don't know how, will stop him and nothing would happen to him. And I didn't know what happened to him until I got home. So 5 minutes later, we already drove inside Gaza. They took us to a tunnel. And then they saw that mine and my brother's injuries were really bad. The bullet hit my bone and crushed 6 centimeters of it, and the bullet didn't came out. It stuck inside. It burned me from the inside, and like a lot of nerves and all the other stuff. And also Itay bullet didn't got out. They took us to the hospital. Before they took us inside, we were staying in the car in the parking lot over there for around, I think, 10-15 minutes, and it was really hot, and we were starting losing a lot of blood. And I remember saying to Itay that I can't talk anymore, and I feel like I'm going to faint, and then I need to keep enough air for me to keep breathing. And I'm saying goodbye. I'm saying that I love him and that I know that he will come home to mom and dad and Guy, our little brother, and that I want him to tell them that I love them. And like a second later, someone opened the door and just pulled me inside, and so is Itay's. And when they took Itay, they took out the bullet with the tweezers without any anesthesia, while a terrorist standing above him and screaming at him and telling him to be quiet. So it was a really, really hard time to do because you're in a lot of pain and you just don't know how to react because you just got kidnapped and you are completely shocked from everything that's going on. And when they took me, they didn't took care of my leg. They just put some bandage on it and sent me away. After this, we were in a house for around a week, and then they took me to the hospital again and did surgeries after 8 days. On October 15, I had surgeries, and then they took the bullet out and put some external fixation. There I met, in the hospital, I met Guy Iluz, Zichrono Livracha. We had a day and a half together. We got to talk to each other, get to know each other. Finally, I had some company, and also he had me. He told me about his family, I told him about mine. And after a day and a half, I wake up from a knock on the door. They came to change something to him, and he didn't woke up. He died from his wounds because they didn't took care of him at all. And from this moment, I knew that I need to stay alive, not only for myself and for my family, also for Guy's family, because I have to tell them what's happening with him, because I know that they probably are worried about him and they need to know that he died and how he died. And I felt like I have to do it for him, so his family knew. I stayed in a hospital for the next 54 days. I was released after 50 days. And I want to talk about a little bit about Itay and Omer experience. Itay and Omer were together the whole time. The last time I saw them was on October 12th, when they switched my bandage at home, at the house that we were. And there was one time at a hospital that somebody gave me like a bunch of grape juice, and I remembered by seeing it that it's Itay's favorite thing on earth. So I asked one of them if he could give it to Itay, and I didn't really know what's happened with my request. And when I came home, Itay told me that he and Omer always talked about what they missed the most at home, and it was always Kiddush on Friday. They were always talking about it. And there was one day that somebody came to their house with grape juice, and they thought that maybe God heard them. So since that day, they did Kiddush every Friday. They would pour all the grape juice into like a small cup, drink a little sip, and then put it back again into the bottle so they could reuse it. Also, they had like some bagels, and there was remains of salt in the bottom of the bag, and they always used it with a little bread to do a motzi. And they would always say to each other that next Friday they're gonna do it together at home. We want to believe that Omer still has the bottle, and he keeps doing Kiddush. And also Omer know the Kiddush perfectly, so he would like say it all the time. And another story is that there was one day we kept hearing IDF bombing everywhere. There was one day it was extremely strong, and Itay says that day there was like a bombing that lasts like 2-3 minutes, that 10 buildings fell one by one, and all of them were like around their house. And ever since that day, because their building didn't fall, they felt like they're not scared anymore, and there is someone that's keeping them safe, and there's someone up there that is listening for their prayers. And they just felt like more calm and felt like everything is going to be okay. They never stopped believing even for a second. And I want to tell you that we never stopped believing, not even for a second. We kept just thinking about our parents, and that they don't even know what's happening with us, and we just miss them so much, and we have to come home again just to hug them and tell them that we're okay, and we were worried about them, because lose two kids and get them both back, it's a miracle. Especially if you look about what happened on October 7th, not many families got to reunited with the loved ones. So it's really crazy, and ever since then we believed that we believe in even more. We always believed, but now even more, that someone is now at this moment keeping Omer safe and all the other 100 hostages that are still there. And I also want to talk a little bit about Omer and I know each other for 8 years now, and we got kidnapped together, and we didn't got to return, the three of us together, but I know we will, and I know that Omer will come home, and I hope it will be as soon as possible, him and all the other 100 hostages. I just want to say that, again, thank you, everyone, and it's really amazing that you came all this way just to listen to our story, and we are here because we know it's so important to come and share our story, because I know it gives you a lot of power, and just keep doing what you're doing for us, for Israel, and for all the hostage families. And I just want to let you know that it's really amazing to see how much Jews all over the world just take care of one another, and it means a lot to the families. It just always says that if you want to do something, just don't stop talking about them, not even for a second. We can't let the world forget what they did to us on October 7, because the world's starting to forget and only to remember what happened on October 8. And being there for the families, it means a lot to them. Let them see that they're not alone, and I can say that also it gave tons of power to my parents. They just kept talking about how much everybody just took care of them and helped them, and really did anything that they asked for when they needed help. And it's really amazing, everything that you're doing. Thank you again for everything.
We just
Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Oy, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu Chai, oy O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu. Hey, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Oy Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. O Davinu Chai, hey, O Davinu Chai. O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu. Hi, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu, O Davinu, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu Chai, O Davinu.